Hey, welcome to another episode of Legion Elite Motorsports. I'm your host, Isaiah. And before we get started, I want to thank each and every one of you guys who have subscribed, liked, and of course hit that bell icon. And we are finally up to 400 subscribers. That's a good achievement. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys. And we're going to start this off by opening our first care package. So let's get to it. Okay, I pre-opened it, but we're going to dive into the actual goodies now. Okay, so let's move that aside. I would actually use my table, but it's kind of full up right now. Ooh. Lights, word. Picks, definitely needed. Magnetic tray. And that is all. Oh, wait, nope, we have one more. Oh, that is definitely needed. Oh, man. But I want to give a big shout out and thanks to Michael for supplying the first care package to Legion Elite. I definitely appreciate it. And if you want to show your love and send a care package, just contact me through Instagram and you'll be able to grab an address to send everything to. And yeah, let me know. I definitely appreciate it. Here is our vehicle we're going to be working on for a couple series. We're going to be doing a lot of work. I'm going to show and tell you guys as we get to it, but it's going to be a lot of work in general. This is a customer's car, so we're going to respect his privacy. Block plates. And also, this is a 89. So it's decent year, a little bit of damage. We're not going to address any of the damage, but we're going to address a lot of other things. Just giving you a quick walk around. But yes. So now we're gonna see what she's packing under the hood. Get a little bit of light on the subject. All right, so we got a MAF translator here, bigger turbo, which is an eBay special. I think that's the eBay turbo manifold right there. And we have hard pipe with the blow-off valve there. And up here, we got stock injectors with a fuel pressure regulator and a fuel pressure gauge. My suspension, of course. And that seems to be pretty much about it. I know from the owner that this car has ice cold AC, which is pretty rare. And we're gonna keep it that way. So some of the modifications that we're gonna do, we wanna make sure that it doesn't interrupt with the air conditioning system. That is priority number one because we do live in Florida. Also, this engine, I did some work for it previously. I changed the head to a M28 non-jet valve head and rebuilt the intake manifold, so that's rebuilt. And also, this has a cam in it. I think it's a 274, something like that. So it's pretty peppy, to say the least. But because it was modified from a stock car, this one doesn't have a boost gauge. So before we start working on it, I would like to take it for a test drive. I have a boost gauge I always keep on tap right here. So we're going to interrupt this line since it seems to be the longest. And we're going to take it for a quick spin, see what the boost is for reference. And then after that, we're going to put it under the knife. Also, before we go for the test drive, I've had a lot of people ask me about the Air MAF translator. So I want to explain that because it's very important that I do. Let me get some additional light on it. Here we go. All right, so to start with, the connector, right? Your original Air MAF connector plugs into the translator. So, I did a tech tip on this a little while ago. If you go back, you might be able to find that video. But I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to show you guys what you have to do to your connector to get it ready for the Air MAF translator. The type of modifications that we're going to be doing to this car does not call for an Air MAF translator, so I'm going to contact the owner to see if this one's going to go up for sale. But I'm pretty sure it is. Just to give you guys a hint, this car is going full standalone, which basically means that the original computer is going to be not used. Only thing that's going to be connected is everything to make the car get reference to the gauges, and that's it. So, all right, so this is the factory connector that plugs in, and what has been done to it is the skin around it has been removed. Okay. So that's very important that you see that. I did this one myself with a pair of wire cutters. So all you do is just cut into it and then start peeling it right around this base. And that's it. So then this is the connector that it comes with. Now, as you can tell, this one's a lot bigger than the factory connector. And the reason that you're peeling the skin is because you need all of the wires except the 2 on this side. So it still makes it a 6-wire system. 5, but still, that's the side we're plugging it into. So it goes in. Let me see if I can put this down for a second. So it goes in as the top side, and you're gonna match top to top. Okay, like this on one side. If your prongs are bent, it's not going to go in as smoothly as it should, but boom. So once it's plugged in like that, you're good to go. So now your original computer, which is this wire, is going to ask for information. And what's giving it information is this. This actually has a cover that goes over it, but it's kind of better to show you the raw guts because you can see the settings. So I'm gonna pop up a diagram for you guys to see what aux, and let me see if you can see it. It's blacked out on the bottom, but mode. And this one should say base, idle, mid, full throttle. That's how it goes. So basically, you can adjust your air fuel with this, and it's going to tell the computer, hey, I need more air or less air at, idle, mid, or wide open throttle. So that's why this is good, and this is what they call a horsepower in the box, because you can get legit horsepower in the box with no fuel cut, minus grounding out your fuel pump, which I've spoken about before. But so you can boost up your car as much as you want and control it with this. Now, if you have a wideband O2 sensor, it's more accurate, so you can see exactly what you're doing. I've seen some people extend these wires to reach inside the car so they can adjust on the fly. And the other side, for this to get a reading, you use a GM sensor. And it has the plug for it right here. All you do is plug it in, boom, boom, done. And what I like about this is it's aluminum, so you can take this and put it in the boost side, which basically means you can run open face turbo and have the sensor here, 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 here. It doesn't matter. You can put it wherever you want on the boost side, so you can run open face turbo to get maximum amount of air. And you don't have to change any settings to do so either, which is really nice. So you have options like that with the MAF translator. So I always say to people who ask, what's the quickest way to make horsepower? And one of these new would be, I think, around 300 bucks, but used is probably around 100, 150. And as long as this sensor's good, it'll function properly. If not, another sensor is about 30 bucks. I definitely would recommend a OEM one over the aftermarket Chinese like this one, but it's definitely there as an option. And I have to say, a good option to make extra power in your car immediately. So that is the MAF translator convo talked about and taken care of. So now we're gonna start this car up and see how many pounds of boost she's actually running, because I actually don't know, none of us do. And that electronic boost controller that's in the car factory is not going to be accurate. So I'm going to cut that big line there, add in the boost gauge, and let's see what she's pushing. All right. Running a little rough, but before I took this video, I seen 15 pounds, so I'm gonna make sure you guys can see the same thing. So hang tight. That was all the way to 6,000 RPM. Okay, we are back from that test drive. So we have a reference of 15 PSI. Interesting. Okay, so we're gonna let her cool down. And as she's cooling down, I'm gonna show you guys how to adjust the height on your Legion Elite Motorsports suspension. So we're gonna start by the back. The customer has requested that we take the stance life out of the rear. So I will happily oblige. And yep, we're gonna lift it up. So let me get a jack up under here and we will begin. So, which brings us to this point, but before I dive into the suspension, while I was taking loose the lug nuts, I was hearing a little chang-a-lang, so to speak. So, I know this car suffers from chattering of the drivetrain, and I think I've spotted the reason why. So we're gonna look at the drive shaft. I don't know if the camera picked that up, but that yoke back there is no good. I forget what you call the piece. Yeah, the T T-yoke. It's got a lot of play. Yep, lots of play. So I'm going to let the owner know I found that problem. But until then, back to the suspension. Okay, so you have two ways of adjusting your height. One, you can take loose the top part there, or you could take loose the bottom part here with the two bolts. Whichever way is easiest for you, you could definitely do that. This one, I'm going to do the bottom half. So we have 3 bolts, one for the brake line and 2 for the base, and of course your dreaded bolt here. But the way I've made this is it actually is smaller, so it's easier to remove. So there won't be any issues there. All right, and just like that, she is loose. So you want to measure from here to here. I'll give you your current height. So we're gonna do that with a caliper gauge. So we're gonna see what we're working with, and all right, about almost 2.5 inches. So from this point on, what you're gonna do, so all you're gonna do is twist this counterclockwise and move your ring down to get your desired result, and that should be it. So I'm gonna knock this out on both sides and we will take it from there. Okay, so we got the suspension raised to 31 because 30 wasn't quite right. So we got 31 from, or excuse me, 3.1 inches from here to here. Now this will vary between car depending on your spring compression and all of that, but on this particular car we have 3.1, which should achieve about an inch drop from stock ride height. Should, but we will definitely see once we put the car on the ground. So I'm gonna do the other side and I'll be back. And these are directional tires, so I had to flip it around. These are SHP wheels, so these are 16x9. They have some damage on them from previous owner, but this owner is going to get these repaired and take it from there. But anyway, so as you can see with that gap, not even putting the car on the floor, it's pretty much factory ride height. So we're going to slap on the other wheel. Okay, so our ending result is 24 7/8. Perfect. So let's check the other side and make sure it is the exact same. And let's see. So we have 24 7/8. Oh, let me stand this up straight. Perfect. So now we're gonna move to the front, and it's pretty much the same exact thing, except this one has the welded spindle, so we're gonna go straight to the top. So we have 2 ways of doing it. Either you can loosen these guys or the smaller guys. And I'm gonna take out the smaller guys. For me, that'll be a lot simpler, because you know, you can spin it without having the big top piece connected, so it's a little bit easier. So we're gonna lift up the front and get to it. Okay, so we've taken all of those bolts loose, We've used our handy dandy magnetic tray. And now we're under here on the suspension. So we're gonna do the same exact thing. Measure point A to point B. Crack this loose, like I've already done. And then we're going to twist, since the top is loose, we're gonna twist this counterclockwise until we get the desired height. Looks about good there. All right, so we're gonna measure from point A to point B to make sure this is exactly where we want it. And after that, we can put the 4 bolts up top and call it complete. So it's that simple to adjust your ride height. I definitely recommend cleaning off these threads and putting, like a nice grease on here, something that'll make sure that this doesn't seize, especially if you're in dry or salty conditions. If it snows and they lay down salt, this is steel. So yeah, definitely make sure you lubricate your thread so you still have adjustment and this doesn't get stuck. So yep, just that simple to adjust the height of your car. Make sure you take your measurements and your final measurements once it's on the ground, from the tip of the fender down to the ground, and you'll be completely done and satisfied. Okay, we stopped at 3678 on the driver's side. So we're gonna put on the wheel. And we're gonna look for 3678 on the passenger side and pop the wheel back on. And then we're gonna check height from our damaged fender to the ground. And also, I wanna leave a little note that if you are doing your height before alignment, that's an excellent idea. You don't want to do your height directly after alignment because you're messing with your camber. So definitely do this first, or a place that has a alignment rack, and then you want to get it aligned. So now that the car is back on the ground, all right, we got 24 and 3/4. Let's see, 24 and 3/4 right at the fender lip. All right, 24 and 3/4. Check the other side. And this fender's a little damaged, so the number could be off. 24. Perfect. Also, when checking, you want to make sure all of the tires are properly inflated, because a low tire will give you a different number on height. Okay, after inflating the tires, I got the ride height to be 24 and 7/8 all the way around. So that's how she's looking. I call it stock ride height, maybe a scooch lower. But yep, so that is done and complete. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely click that subscribe button and bell icon. There's a lot more to go. So I'll see you next episode.